The House today defeated a 1.6 trillion stopgap spending bill to extend current government funding into March and impose new proof of citizenship requirements on voter registration as Republicans and Democrats alike rejected Speaker Mike Johnson's proposal to avert a shutdown at the end of the month. And the Federal Reserve cut interest rates today for the first time since the pandemic's early days, turning the page on an era of dangerously high inflation and marking a major shift at the central bank that could bring relief for households and businesses alike. And Senator J.D. Vance has been on the defensive for more than a week after repeating baseless claims that immigrants living in a small Ohio city were stealing and eating local animals and pets. His efforts to pivot the story into one that's politically advantageous are clumsy, in part because the reality is so stark. And a federal judge today ordered Sean Combs to remain in jail until his trial for sex trafficking and racketeering, rejecting an appeal by the music mogul's lawyers requesting that he be released on bail. Judge Andrew Carter said at a hearing in Lower Manhattan today that Combs posed a risk of witness tampering and was a danger to the society, to the safety, that is, of the community where he lived. The judge rejected an unusual proposal from Combs's legal team in which he would have remained at his mansion in Florida, monitored around the clock by a private security force. And Black women are more likely than white women to die from even the most treatable types of breast cancer. This is reported in a study out yesterday by the Journal of Clinical Oncology. The findings underscore that it's racial disparities, not biology, driving the biggest differences in death rates between Black and white women. While Black women and white women are diagnosed with breast cancer at similar rates, Black women are 40% more likely to die from the disease. This is the news of the day, and this is Areva Martin in Real Time, and I'm your host, Areva Martin. This is your one-stop destination for today's trending news, expert analysis, and my unfiltered opinions. This is hour 2 of Areva Martin in Real Time, and this is the hour where we go a little deeper, where we dig behind those headlines and bring you those stories that people are talking about. Well, if you live in Los Angeles or if you live anywhere across the world, you probably were tuned in to the Emmy Awards this past weekend. Lots of folks like to go to their social media pages to see who was on the red carpet, who was the best dressed, of course, checking out who all of the winners are. And this year, I was particularly interested in the Emmys because a friend of mine was nominated, not for one, but for 2 Emmys. And her nominations were unusual because they are historic. Yes. When the Emmy nominations were announced for Winning Time, executive producer, director Sally Richardson Whitfield made history as the first Black woman ever to be recognized in the drama directing category. Now, you may be scratching your head asking, how can that be? This is 2024. How can it be that Sally Richardson Whitfield is the first Black woman ever to be recognized in this drama category, directing category? I know I asked Sally that question. She and I had a conversation leading up to the big awards night on Sunday, and I was just incredulous because it just seems like to me that this is a glass ceiling that should have been broken many, many years ago. Well, it wasn't until this Emmy nomination happened for Sally Richardson Whitfield. Many of you know her as an actress because she worked for 20 years on film and television before stepping behind the camera. But since 2011, she has built an impressive resume tackling comedy, drama, action, fantasy, and more, working for some of the biggest streaming sites, producing some of the highest quality dramas on television. One of my favorites, which she also was nominated for, was The Gilded Age. We're going to talk a lot about The Gilded Age and how it is transformative and how it is making history as well. But we also will be talking in this hour about Winning Time. If you are a basketball fan, if you lived in Los Angeles or live in Los Angeles, if you are a Lakers fan, then you probably saw Winning Time. I know my producer Robert is a big Lakers fan. He's a big Winning Time fan as well. So we're going to talk a lot about how Winning Time became that drama series that led to Sally Richardson Whitfield getting her first Emmy nomination and making history. When we come forward, I sit down with Sally Richardson Whitfield. Stay with us, KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
Work is busy, and home,
Mom!
pretty much the same. But you wouldn't know it because my skin doesn't look stressed thanks to Olay Retinol Body Wash. Its hydrating formula is packed with vitamin B3 complex plus retinol. I use Olay Retinol Body Wash to transform my skin from dry to moisturized and visibly renewed. Sure, I still have stress, but my skin looks amazing. Try Olay Retinol Body Wash for visibly renewed skin in just 14 days. Also try Retinol 24 Body Lotion.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My friend Sally Richardson Whitfield is joining us in this hour. She is an actor and Emmy-nominated director of Winning Time and the executive producer of The Gilded Age. Both of these are big dramas on HBO. And Sally, first of all, thank you for joining me, and super congratulations on your nomination, your history-making nomination as the first Black woman ever to be nominated in a drama category for television. It's hard for me to still believe you. And I had this conversation. I cannot wrap my brain around. We're going to talk about that. But first, just tell me, what was it like to be at your first Emmys?
It was kind of surreal. You know, you would think after, and you've been very gracious just saying 20 years. I think it's been 30 years before that. You know, I don't know if it really had sunk in until I was on the carpet and in some of these interviews. You know, most of the time, you know, we're mothers. I'm trying to pay tuition, take care of my family. And I really enjoy what I do. And this is kind of the fancy part, but really it's about the work. So it was surreal. What I did was I had a feeling Shogun was going to win. So I wasn't too, you know, I wasn't too delusional, but I did enjoy the moment. I enjoyed the moment.
Well, I followed you on Instagram, and you had the most amazing outfits, not just for the award ceremony itself, but for the parties. And again, people don't like directors. The folks behind the cameras aren't the household names that, talent, and you've been an actress, are. And so even just that experience of being a director that's nominated and getting to, do the dress up and do all the fancy stuff, how was that for you? Because you've not been in that frontal role, that front position for 20 to 30 years since you've been acting. So how was that different?
Well, I did decide when I dressed up, I said, well, I'm gonna have to bring that inner actress back out again and bring in the hotness. But it's funny because you are treated different. Like some people will interview you, but if you're not in front of the camera, they really don't care as much. I think because of the moment and being the first Black woman and have been an actress gave me a little more press than other directors may have gotten. So I definitely felt the difference between being in front of the camera.
But it was still, you said, just surreal. Just it had to be an amazing moment. I saw you with your husband, who's also an actor, with your two children. One's in college, one's in high school. What was the moment like for them being there with wife and mom, when she's being acknowledged by her peers in this really amazing, environment and setting?
I think actually the proudest moment I had was after I had lost. And my daughter sent me, she was, they had come, they couldn't sit with us. But she sent me the most beautiful text about how proud she was of me, how hard she knows I work, and how she knows that women, Black women in particular, are looking up to me and that I'm her hero. And it was just that was what was special to me, that I knew my son was up there and he knows how hard mom works. And my husband was sitting next to me and proud of me. On our way there, all my friends were over. We were like, it was like prom. I was getting dressed and we prayed before we went. And that's what it's about. It's about that community. And that's when I was really feeling how proud I was of myself and the hard work I had done.
So I read something, Sally, that said you were shocked. Like you were just going about your business. You're super busy. You're directing some new projects and you get a call. Like you weren't expecting this, right?
Absolutely not. I was sort of hoping that Gilded, which did get nominated too for Best Show, that it would get some nominations because there was a little heat on it. But, Winning Time had been canceled. So nothing about that made me think there was going to be a nomination for anything. So when my manager, Erwin, called me and said, not about Gilded, but about Winning Time, I think he said, I said about 10 times, I just went, shut up, shut up. I just kept saying that. And people thought something awful was happening. And, I was like, I'm not the most emotional person, but I almost just like broke out in tears of really this feeling of relief.
Wow.
It was like this relief that all this hard work I had been, doing and time away from home mattered.
So Winning Time, talk to us about, my producer, Rob, is a big fan of it, but for those folks who maybe missed it, because as you said, it did get canceled after only one season, right?
Two
seasons. Okay. So talk to us about, what is Winning Time about? Why would it be nominated if it gets canceled? Because intuitively you would think, oh my God, if they canceled it, it must not have been a great show or didn't attract a big audience, but maybe there's something about it that we don't know.
Well, a lot of times, sometimes the best shows, that are the critically acclaimed shows are the ones that get canceled because, you kind of come out maybe at the wrong time. We came out during, COVID was going on, all these shakeups with the studios and the expense of our show. So it was actually, as far as critically acclaimed, people loved it. It's about, I think, what is it, 84 Lakers, Celtics run and, Celtics against Lakers, Magic Johnson against Larry Bird. Like it is, this is big IP. People want to hear this story, and it was so well done. And it was Adam McKay set up this beautiful show. And I mean, you have John C. Reilly and Adrian Brody and our young magic, Quincy Isaiah. So it was a fantastic show at the wrong time, you know? And I think that what this nomination showed is that it was we had a few, we had for cinematography, for visual effects, and I think I'm forgetting the other things, but it's a great show at the wrong time.
Right. I remember when the show came out, a lot of, I guess, controversy. Some of the Lakers weren't too happy with it. Former Lakers, or I guess the current owner, Jerry Buss, not too happy with how the team and certain characters were portrayed. Did that help or hurt the series, you think?
That was part of the issue, you know. The players were complaining, and I get it. I always say, listen, if somebody was doing my life story and I didn't have any say in it, I might be irritated too. But, you know, I think that, you know, a lot of this or most of this material was picked from books that these people had written themselves. Some of the things that some of the people were complaining about were actually in their book, or books, you know, or another player had written about it. So I think that was most of it. And I think that definitely hurt the show because you didn't have the players behind it. But I think that our writers, you know, they weren't trying to do a hack job on the Lakers. They really loved the team, and it was more of an homage to the Lakers.
Well, yeah, maybe those sentences buried deep in those books that didn't sell a lot of copies didn't matter until it was on the big screen. Let's talk about Gilded Age, though. That's one of my favorite shows. So talk about publicity. I remember when it came out, the publicity was so positive because of the characters, particularly the African-American characters in the Gilded Age, and how they were going to be portrayed again for the first time, seeing Black folks in this period piece with agency. Talk to us about the Gilded Age, and what do you love about that series?
That's why you see me now in this little kitchen behind me. I'm in New York shooting the third season of the Gilded Age and doing the last 2 episodes now. It's just, that really was, besides wanting to work with Julian Fellows, who obviously, you know, Downton Abbey was such a big, and I love period pieces, but as people of color, we don't really get to be a part of that world very often. And what Julian and Sonia Warfield have designed with the Black elite world was so much fun, and I learned so much, and I was so proud of it, because it's not you know, some other shows that sort of fantasize this, you know, Black people in that time period. Gilded does it like factual, you know, like this is pretty much how it was in, you know, in Black Brooklyn back then. And this season, what's so wonderful is we get to explore more of the Black elite world. We get to go to Newport, Rhode Island, and see the Black elites there. So it's so much fun. And I think that because it is such a fan favorite, the Black storyline, people are going to be very satisfied this next season, because they'll get to see a lot more of it. I mean, we have Miss Felicia Rashad this season coming up, so it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that show is just amazing. I mean, the actress is Danae Benton, right? She plays the young African-American woman who's the social secretary to one of the elite families, but her own family's elite. Her dad's a doctor or something, right? Or an accountant, or some kind of entrepreneur.
Dad's a doctor, and she's a journalist.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, she had a storyline with a child. I know you can't tell us everything, but I'm so hoping she finds love and, you know, has a love interest.
I can say nothing, but all good things happen for Peggy.
Peggy is so just amazing. So let's talk about this history making. You remember us having a conversation right before, you know, the weekend, and I was just dumbfounded that, you know, happy for you that you are this history maker, but almost incredulous about the fact that you would be the first Black woman nominated in this particular category. How is it in 2024 that we are still making these kinds of, you know, history making moments that should have been like history making moments 2 decades ago?
Well, you're right. I was, you know, of course I was excited, but I was saddened, because I'm going, are you telling me that someone like Debbie Allen hasn't been nominated at least in this category, who's really one of the Black women who's paved the way for Black female, you know, directors. But what I think it is that yes, we are working more as Black directors, male and female, but there are not very many of us who are directing on platforms like HBO. Honestly, very few, very very few, and those are the shows that get nominated. So it's things are
And
getting
why
better.
is that, Sally? Why in this moment where there's obviously a plethora of qualified Black folks who are directors, why do you think they're so limited in terms of platforms like HBO?
It's just it's a small field in general to get to direct these kind of shows, for white, Black, male, female, like to get to HBO is I look at it. There are times like I don't even know how I got here, but but it is the small little niche, and honestly, there's still work to be done to move people in that area. I was, the second season of Gilded, I wasn't able to do it because I was doing Winning Time, and I brought another Black woman who is sort of I have a sort of a peer group of other up and coming directors that we talk a lot, and I was like, okay, her name is Crystal Robinson. I was like, I think she's ready for this, and they gave her an opportunity. So it may just be people like me, who give other people opportunity to get those shots. And then, because once you get one on those higher platforms, then it's easier to get the others. It's just, I don't know, but more of us need to get there.
So those of us that watch folks like you and actors or anyone that gets these kind of nominations, even if you don't win, the perception is that it just opens all of these doors, right? That you start getting calls from all the big networks and the studios, and that, you can now write your ticket. Is that fact or fiction?
Help. I think it's going to help, obviously. This just happened, so I don't, I got to see how the floodgates go. But, again, I think that what's been great for me, and I feel very blessed. This last year or two, the floodgates have already sort of opened up, and things have been going really well. But it can only help when now on my, now my resume is double Emmy nominated, and that helps anyone. So yeah, I'm hoping it gets me those movies that I want to do, or I definitely feel there's a different level of respect when people are talking to me just about my work and what I do. They're more apt to listen to me because I'm Emmy nominated, and and for such an amazing show. So time will tell. I'll let you know.
Let me know if the phones start ringing off the hook. What do you think, Sally? You talked about lifting as you climb and giving Crystal this opportunity because you weren't available. Obviously, you can't be available for all the projects. So it does, make sense that there would be opportunities to bring other people along. Do you see that happening? I mean, was that something you did and is unusual? Is this something that happens all the time?
Well, I think that I talk about the group of directors that that I have a conversation with all the time. That is our mission. Our mission is for all of us who are now showrunners and director producers on the show, is to bring up as many people as we can who we feel are ready for that opportunity, so that they can move up into our positions. That's the only way it's really going to happen. And honestly, for me, HBO really took a chance for me in the beginning and brought me in and trusted me with some of their biggest shows. And they trusted me. And it was also important that they brought another Black woman into Gilded, because they felt like they needed that voice. So to their testament, it wasn't just me. They wanted that voice to continue.
So what was your first project with HBO?
It was the Gilded Age, believe it or not. So for a few years before that, there were a few jobs they had called me about, and I just was always booked and couldn't do it. And then all of a sudden, Gilded and Winning Time came around the same time, and all of a sudden, I was now booked with HBO, and it turned into through working with them in these shows, it turned into something bigger. And then it turned into an overall deal with them. So, when opportunity finally comes, I always say this to people, you better be ready to knock it out the park. And because it's not going to come again. So I took advantage of the opportunity, and it really grew into now this Emmy nomination.
Wow, that's an incredible story. The Gilded Age is only into this third season. So you literally just started working with them 2-3 years ago. And, from that initial, like you said, invitation to work on 2 of their biggest shows to now being nominated for 2 Emmy Awards. What an incredible journey. When we come forward, I want to talk about Hollywood. We hear so much about other Black talent not working and what's changed after a lot of the commitments that were made after George Floyd's murder in 2020. And then your transition from actress to director. What has that journey been like? Stay with us. More with Sally Richardson Whitfield when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. An organization is taking legal action against Florida's voter registration process. Florida Rising filed a lawsuit claiming the state's voter verification procedure goes against federal laws. The nonprofit believes the eligibility process disenfranchises Black voters because it's widely known to provide inconsistent results. Applications must perfectly match information displayed in the state's DMV database in order to become eligible to vote. The advocacy group claims more than 43,000 Floridians have been unable to register over the past 6 years in connection to the current verification protocols. The Teamsters are not endorsing a candidate for president. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters was the last and perhaps most influential labor union to take position on a candidate. The union endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, Hillary Clinton in 2016, and Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Over in Long Beach's 710 North after the 405. Watch for stop traffic up to about 40 minutes from Pico Avenue, Piers A through J interchange, as the stall blocks the center lane. In West Covina, CHP remains on scene as an accident on the right shoulder at the 10 East at Pacific Avenue, West Covina Parkway interchange, and a 45-minute backup runs heavy from New Avenue. Also, a stall remains blocking the center lane of the 10 East before Grand Avenue, and heavy traffic continues from Barranca Street. In Anaheim, 3 right lanes are blocked on the 57 South before Catella Avenue, and watch for heavy traffic coming from Ball.
Every day a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Officials at Grambling State University are expecting a sellout crowd for Saturday's home football game against Jackson State. It's the first time the SWAC rivals have played each other at Grambling since Deion Sanders brought Jackson State to Grambling in 2020. Grambling's Eddie Robertson Stadium has a capacity of 19,600. This is the first SWAC conference game this season for both HBCU teams. Grambling and Jackson State are 2-1 in non-conference games. More details on this game in our college football preview on Friday. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert did not practice Wednesday, leading to concerns about his status for Sunday's game at Pittsburgh. Herbert suffered an ankle injury in Sunday's win at Carolina. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh said Herbert is feeling better, but gave no confirmation on whether Herbert will play. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
I found out that one of my players was vaping. I brought him in and asked him, where did this stuff come from? He said, it's bigger than you think, coach. He had told me that almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in, and I said, hey, you as parents need to do your part. You guys need to figure out how, why, and when this stuff is happening, and we got to get it fixed.
Coach Sanchez and his team took vaping head on. Learn how he and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way Black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though.
We are back, and Sally Richardson Whitfield, she's an actor. She's Emmy-nominated director for 2 shows, Winning Time and The Gilded Age, both on HBO. Well, Winning Time has been canceled, but you can probably catch some of the episodes or catch the entire 2 seasons on demand. Thank you so much, Sally, for sitting down with me. I know it's been a whirlwind for you. Sunday was the Emmys, and I'm sure there were lots of parties, and you talked about lots of interviews leading up to the award. I want to talk now, though, about Hollywood, Black Hollywood. So many of my friends who work in Hollywood, African Americans, are crying the blues, saying there's no work, that the industry has changed so dramatically, a reduction in the number of episodes, even when you get a season, the use of AI, and a sense that promises that were made after George Floyd's murder in 2020 have not been kept, particularly promises around expanding the number of Black folks working both in front of and behind the camera. What do you make of those complaints? Are people just kind of whining, or is that really the reality of Hollywood today, for Black folks in particular?
Well, I think it's 2 things. Right now, again, because of this climate in Hollywood and the streaming services cutting things, everybody in Hollywood is feeling it, from the craft service and PAs to, all the way up. So you have that in general. So then, of course, it's going to affect our community more. And then, worldwide right now, or at least countrywide, all of these diversity programs, are disappearing. All of those jobs that were there for, to the watchdogs of diversity, they're disappearing. So, there are some promises that were not kept. People were, everyone, what happens is when it gets hard for everybody, then they blame us. And then all of a sudden we taking everybody's jobs, right? So I think it's not just a Hollywood problem. It's a countrywide problem that people don't care about what's right and equitable anymore as much as they.
So we're in the midst of this very contentious political season, election coming up in less than 55 days or so. Do you think who wins the presidential election what impact do you think it will have, excuse me, some impact on your industry? And, how does it look based on who the winner of the presidential race is?
I think unfortunately it will matter. I think, if Trump gets in again, I think it started with him and some of that rhetoric in the beginning, and him, stoking the flame and of getting rid of diversity, and it's not fair to the other side. That's part of the reason these diversity programs have disappeared. And if he's back in, it can only continue to get worse. And of course, if Kamala is there, then hopefully, things can get re-energized. I think that, I think the fact that people they think in their mind, it's you're taking my job, but what made it your job in the first place? Mm-hmm. It's his job to go after.
Well, you would think, it's interesting, Sally, but you would think that there would be an expansion of jobs and people need it, because when you think about the gazillion streaming sites, like I just had someone come over to help me fix a couple of televisions in my home, and one's a Google television, one's like an Amazon television. So we were just laughing at how both of them, you have to program them differently, put in your passwords, go through this whole process. But the number of streaming sites, is just it's just mind blowing how many sites there are that are streaming content 24/7. So it seems like there would be a greater need for both talent in front of the camera as well as those folks who work behind.
Well, what happened was there was a boom and people were working like crazy, but then all of a sudden the numbers came in, and the streamers who were spending all this money, it wasn't coming back to the company. And the number, what do they say, the math once wasn't mathing or something, so they've cut all of these budgets, they've cut a lot of shows, and they've cut all these episodes, and then the strike really hurt people badly, and those shows haven't rebooted themselves yet. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'd say in maybe the next year or two, things will even out. But that strike really, really hurt people, and the industry has not bounced back from it. And the strike changed the game for everyone right now.
Okay, but it didn't. A lot of the streaming sites haven't gone out of business. We've seen some consolidation. We've seen some, big companies eat up other companies. But still, if you just scroll through any of these, platforms, whether, like I said, you got a Google TV or an Amazon or Roku, there's still so many sites. There's so many stations, I should call them, or streaming platforms. They're still producing content. So, or not. So what are they doing to keep their subscriptions or subscribers, satiated with content?
I pay grade, but I know that there are less shows. There are definitely less shows being made right now. Less shows right now, like trying to sell something and shows getting greenlit. It's just not happening right now. There's kind of this stoppage, and people waiting to see what's going to happen. Probably, around next year. So what happens in particular for then our community is if there's less work, then the few jobs that are out there to get, you're probably, all that diversity, when they were trying to let you in, they're going to go to the people who they know and the people who have been working all the time. And that's where the Black Hollywood community is feeling it. And, like I said, the whole industry, Black, white, Asian, everyone is feeling it, but we're going to feel it more because we aren't in control of it.
Right. So I want to talk about your transformation, your new journey. I said 20 years, you said 30 years as an actress, and now this transition, or 30 years ago or 20 years ago, what was the catalyst, I should say, for you saying acting's okay, but the real action for me is in directing? And what was that transition like for you? How was it one morning you just woke up and had an aha moment, like, I'm a good actress, but I think I'd be a better director? What was that whole process like for you?
Well, very quickly, I was doing a film with Ava DuVernay, which was her first narrative feature. And during that process, Ava, I probably had a little too much to say on set. I was one of those, actors giving their opinions. But at some point, Ava said to me, she goes, "I think you're a director and you don't know it." And honestly, it was just her saying that. And I always say it was like sort of God's word coming through her to me. Just kind of sparked it in me. I said, I do kind of think like that. And I was on a series called Eureka at the time. And I called the director who had directed me there a few times that I really liked his work and said, "Hey, can I shadow you?" Ava gave me some tapes and some books. And I did, so I did that stuff. And then I asked my show, could I get a shot at directing? And again, I was very lucky. People, and this wasn't about diversity back then. They just trusted in me and gave me an opportunity. And when I got that opportunity, I went, after the first day or two, I went, oh, I understand this. I get this. It felt right. And then I started doing more. And a few years later, when I wasn't acting, I decided I was really ready to jump into it. And that's when I did Queen Sugar for Ava. And once I got Queen Sugar, honestly, I just started booking show after show after show and did not realize that I was giving up acting. It was not the plan. The plan was to direct half the year. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a series. I'll act half of the year and direct half of the year. And then I just got so busy as a director that I never went back.
All right. When we come forward, I got to ask you if you miss it. And if so, what parts of it do you miss? And what's next for this two-time Emmy-nominated director, Sally Richardson Whitfield? Stay with us, KBLA Talk 1580, when we come forward.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, this is Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to be part of our city's legendary musical history at the 29th Annual Central Avenue Jazz Festival on September the 21st from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. For decades, the Central Avenue Jazz Festival has honored this historic corridor's unparalleled contribution to jazz. Enjoy a day filled with jazz, blues, and Latin jazz across 3 stages, featuring performances by Chief Ajua, the John Beasley Big Band, and Las Chicas. Indulge in a variety of delicious foods from barbecue to Asian fusion, and explore from a unique mix of vendors and more. The festival is free to attend, and it takes place on Central Avenue between King Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Parking is limited, so Metro and rideshare are recommended. For more information, visit centralavejazzfest.com. That's centralavejazzfest.com. See you on the 21st.
That morning chill means truck season.
5 more minutes.
No snoozing. Do it all in a Chevy Colorado or Silverado, including the class-leading range of the Silverado EV.
Talking to me?
Work, play, hauling, off-roading, a Chevy truck can take it all.
Okay, I'm up.
Get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 and Colorado pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 24.5%. Plus finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available at least in some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
October 2nd is California Clean Air Day. It's your chance to ride Metro for free. You'll be helping make the air cleaner and our roads less crowded. Let's clear the air together and make Los Angeles healthier. Check out metro.net for more info.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
There's no time.
Sally Richardson Whitfield is joining me in this hour, and she's coming off of not one, but two nominations by the Emmys for her work on Winning Time and The Gilded Age, both HBO specials. So, Sally, you said you were working on the show Eureka. Someone said something to you, or Ava DuVernay said, hey, you're a director. You went, shadowed someone, and next thing you knew, you were working on Queen Sugar, and you haven't looked back. So do you miss acting at all?
Sometimes I do. I think that I miss it when I'm working with some of this, these incredibly talented people. And so I think that's when the show I've been shooting right before coming back here to Gilded is a new show for HBO called Task, starring Mark Ruffalo, and watching Mark Ruffalo, who is so amazing. I learned, I've been learning more from some of these actors, and it makes me think that if I came back as an actress, I would be even better. But I would have to find the time. Maybe one day, if I'm directing something where I'm perfect for it, I'll be back in it again.
Well, I'm thinking about Tyler Perry. Obviously he's a unicorn in some regards, but are there people that both direct and then put themselves in the project too?
Absolutely. Again, in Task, I did a small little role because there was something, it was like an attorney. I was like, I can do this real quick. So yeah, there's definitely, there's definitely a lot of people who do that. So eventually maybe I'll do a film and find my way back in it. I think that initially as I started to direct more, I thought it important for me just to focus on directing, because I didn't want people to think that I wasn't serious about this new medium. I wanted them to know that this is what I wanted to do, and it wasn't something that I was just dabbling in. And I think that now that I command that respect and people know who I am as a director, I think I would feel more comfortable dabbling in both, because it wouldn't take away from what I'm doing as a director.
But your career is solidly as an actor. So, as a director, and if you do act in, a project or so, that's going to be occasionally.
Yes. I love directing. I love being in control of the narrative. I love working with actors and helping them, flush out a character and get the best performance for them. And so I just love everything about it.
So tell us, people probably confuse a director from a producer from a writer. Like, how do you distinguish those three different roles? And sometimes people are playing multiple roles.
For me, as a producer, a lot of what I'm doing is finding, maybe when I get the script, working with the writer or giving my notes on the script of what holes I find as I'm directing, which kind of works as a director too. Maybe talking to talent who, we want to try to get on a project, helping, at this point, I know when something's going to cost us a little more, and I can do it this way, I can do it that way. So, I'm as of now on TV shows, I'm more of a creative producer rather than, I'm not really dealing with the finance part of it. Mm-hmm. So, and my writing is really more about, I'm not a writer. I don't, as of right now, I could not start from blank page. But if you give me a script that has some problems and holes, I can find it and maybe give you some ideas of how you can fix it. So I've gotten much better at that through working at HBO, because they really work on such a high level of their notes. I've been able to really figure out what makes a great script different from just a good script.
And so as a director, you're there, like as the the scenes are being shot, are you, literally hands-on telling the actor, stand here, stand there, say this differently, give me more oomph in that comment? Like, what are you doing?
I'm doing all of that. I'm also approving wardrobe. I'm approving things on the set. No, I need the chair over here. What are they going to eat during this scene? I have to make that decision. Where are the along with my director of photography, where's the camera going to be? What shots are we going to do? How many shot setups are we going to do for this scene? All of that's my responsibility. So it's as an actor, there were times I would be bored on set because you're only dealing with you. If you're not shooting, you're in your trailer, you're tired, you get bored. As a director, there is not a moment that I am not moving, pacing, making a decision, being asked a question. In between a setup, my assistant may come up and go, "Hey, can you look at this casting list? They need you to make a decision on who you're going to cast for this part." Okay. Oh, wardrobe wants you to look at this wardrobe. I'm like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. I got to shoot. I got to call action first, and then they cut. So it's constant decisions all day, every day, all night. I constantly am waking up thinking about the scenes with great anxiety.
Wow. So somebody interested, some young person graduating from college, going to college, been out of college, whatever, that's thinking they want a career as a director. What advice would you give them?
Well, I would, first of all, going to film school is fantastic. It would have been wonderful. I did not get that opportunity. I sort of learned on the job, but they are going to very quickly find that they don't know as much as they think they do until they get on a real set. So as a film, I think there's two things. Make your film. For those kids who have their idea, you have to find those friends in film school who want to be a DP, who want to do all these different positions, and you all come together to make your film. If you don't have that, then work on a set. I learned there's so many like production assistants or camera operators, dolly operators, different positions on the set. You meet other people, and everybody wants to do something different. They all want to grow. So these are your opportunities to meet people in the same industry who want to make a film too, and get it in a festival, get people seeing what you do. If you're a writer, write it and then maybe direct it yourself. There's no excuses nowadays because you can make your film on your phone. You can make it on anything. And so it's really about getting your project out there and in front of people. And if you are relentless about it and you don't give up, you will make it.
And it sounds like, Sally, obviously you're creative, you are an actress, but it sounds like as a director, you're also making a lot of, decisions. I guess they're creative decisions, but the skill set, like, it doesn't necessarily translate to me that all actors have the skill sets to become directors.
No, they don't. I mean, you have to, again, that's why I said when I first did it, I went, oh, this is perfect for me. As my husband would, I can be a bit bossy at home. I can be a bit controlling. I'm very detail oriented. I think as a director does, I am very it's about time management. A lot of it are your people skills. Like when you get to this point, it's not just dealing with the actors. Every actor is different. So you have to have that, but there's also the behind the stuff with different kinds of producers and studio people. It's a skill set of how to deal with people. And then you also have to have the creative side of it. So it's like creative meets, management skills. So it's a lot of things mixed together, and being able to see not only the little tiny things in a performance, but the big picture of what you have to shoot. So and you have to be comfortable being the center of it all and controlling it and making hard decisions all the time quickly. And it suits my personality.
Okay, you're a dominating personality. You have no problems ordering people around and being decisive. That's what you're decisive. You know what you want, and you're not afraid to say it and get other people to follow along. Okay, what's next for you? History Making nomination a couple of weeks ago. And now you said you're working on this amazing new project for HBO. What should we expect to see from Sally Richardson Woodfield?
That's, right now that's it. That's the next show, is this show called Task, with starring Mark Ruffalo and written by Brad Inglesby, who did Mayor of Easttown, which was very successful show for HBO. And the next season of HBO, which is what I'm, for the Gilded Age, which is what I'm shooting right now.
When does that drop, Sally?
Gilded Age or Task?
Gilded Age, or both?
Well, Gilded Age, I think, is early next year, I think. So that's going to be soon. The Task, I think, is going to be a little while. I'm not sure when that one, but that's at least another year. Okay. So it'll be Gilded and then Task, and then I'll, probably in the next month or two, I'll know what the next project is. And then I have a few films that I have in development, because, that's really the next big thing, is to have my first feature. So there's a lot of things that happen.
You heard it here on KBLA. Her next big thing is her own film, her feature on the big screens. Thank you so much, Sally. Congratulations again. I'm going to keep following you on Instagram. I love seeing all the beautiful shots of you, your family, and just what an amazing experience this was for you. And keep breaking those glass ceilings for Black women, Black people in the entertainment industry. We see you, we love you, and we got your back. All right, folks, that's up. Time is up for me. Next voice that you hear will be Robin Ayers and the Raw Report right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay with us. Thank you, Sally. I know you're in the
Its attorney should have kept the trial from happening in the first place. His lawyer said Smollett had agreed to a plea deal to drop the charge.